Welcome to a new pattern tutorial video, where today I want to show you how you can make one of these card holders that are probably as small as they can possibly be. So you got a pocket for a couple of your cards, and you also get an additional pocket for a couple of your builds, and all of that in a neat form factor with also some beautiful polished edges. So I would say, as always, let's make that, shall we?
Okay, so first we will want to cut all of our pieces from the leather, and for this build I'm using 4-ounce Pueblo leather, and for the small welt or LPs I just use some raw veg stem that I've had flying around, which should be around 3mm, but here you can also use different thicknesses if you want to. And then we just cut a slit for our front flap and a small lip so that we can take our cards out more easily. And then also for the front cover, I just use a standard washer from the hardware store to round off the corners, so it will also fit in more easily into the slit on the other side. And once we've done that, we can just go on to bevel and burnish all the necessary sides and pieces for the build. Then after we beveled and burnished all the pieces, we can take the LPs, apply the glue and glue it on the pocket piece so that we can wrap around it and form a pocket for our credit cards. And here you want to make sure you align especially the corners well. Then press everything down and start scratching the backside so we can apply again some contact cement and glue the flap also on the backside. And this will then form the compartment for our builds. And then we can just take the same washer again, put it into the corner, so that we can also round off this edge if we want to. And then we can already start to prepare our stitch line. And here you can see you want to be careful when you mark your stitch line that you make sure it's actually placed on the welt and not inside, because otherwise this might be falling apart later on. But after you checked that the stitch width is within the welt, we can just start punching our holes all the way around and then start stitching everything. And once we finished our stitch line, we can already move on to finish our edges. And here I would recommend already put in a couple of cards because it will give you more structure, which makes it easier during sanding. Speaking of which, before we sand, I also like to trim the edges a little bit, and the pattern accounts for 1 or 2mm that you can take off these edges, because that will give you a much better baseline for sanding and finishing our edges. And then for the actual sanding of the edges, what I would usually do here, if you already have a nice and flat edge, is I start with 600 grit sandpaper, just go over the edge, make everything nice and smooth, make sure there are no valleys left anymore. And it helps to shine a light on the side of it and you see if there's anything left. Once we did the dry sanding, then I move on to put some Tokonole on it and repeat the same with the 600 grit wet sanding it. And once that is looking good, I just repeat the same steps with 1000 grit sandpaper. Then we can continue to tap down the edges, and I usually do this after, because of the sanding we might get some mushrooming on the edges. Then we can just tap that down as well. And then we just need to bevel our edges before we give it a nice final polish. And again here we just apply some Tokonole, take a linen cloth, and then give it a good rub. And you can see this already gives us some nice and shiny edges. And there you have it. I hope you liked the build, and if you did, please also leave a like on the video, and if you want to see more patterns in the future, consider subscribing. And with that, I would say, see you next time.